Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and more Dead Man's Hand here as we work our way through more of the good factions. And one of the factions today that stands out quite a bit from all the others is Daughters of the West, as it's an all-female faction. So let's jump right in. So as usual, half the team has to be armed with pistols as their sole ranged weapon. If mounted characters are permitted in the scene, then one mounted character may be equipped with a lasso. So I've seen that, I think, with one of the other factions so far as well. And wouldn't it be nice, or isn't it nice that we now have the plastic gunfighters, which makes that pretty easy. So, Daughters of the West special rules are below. Never underestimate us, can only be used by one character per turn. Hell Hath No Fury is a once per game. So let's jump right in. So once per turn, a character may claim the benefit from being in substantial cover, which is really great, especially if you actually aren't in cover. So a nice way of getting, again, just some extra protection for one of your characters, but also lets you have some flexibility in your movement and getting from different points across the battlefield and being able to just say, hey, this one character does have substantial cover, even if that's normally wouldn't be the case, is pretty powerful. And you can kind of shift that from character to character, turn by turn, as you go, but only one. And then once per game, for a single turn, all friendly characters may ignore negative modifiers for enemy characters in cover. So really a nice way of taking sort of an offensive buff against a opposing force that maybe is kind of hunkering down and playing more defensively. Here you can essentially just get rid of cover for a turn, which is pretty powerful. And thankfully also just once per game. Otherwise that would be a little bit busted if that was more of a every kind of turn effect. So really both special abilities geared around cover. One more veer benefit, and then one as sort of a debuff against the enemies. Now the characters themselves, fairly typical stat lines here. We do get the lady, who's your leader. Got to have her. So again, very typical. 2+ nerve, +1 shoot, no hand-to-hand bonus, 6 rep. The gunfighter, your more elite shooter. 1 fewer point at 5, with +2 to shoot, but a little bit less nerve. Now your ladies are your core choice here. You have to have multiples here, and unlike a lot of the other factions though, where they're just kind of not negatives but zeros, here no buffs. Here you actually get a debuff in hand-to-hand, or starting with a -1, we should say. But here you get a little bit of your flexibility. You could, again, more pistols, but here you get your long-range rifle or repeater, and one can have a shotgun. So, and the shotgun's nice, of course, because it just mitigates the negatives with the built-in bonuses that the shotguns do have, and a great equalizer. And that is your 2-pointer. Then the Soiled Doves are a low-level character here, 1-pointers. Here they have the -1 to shoot and the -1 to hand-to-hand. Again, shotgun is a great way of mitigating that, but so is the pistol up close. But cheap way of getting some extra shotguns in the list. And just depending on how large we're playing here, a nice list too, where we can actually get multiple shotguns in. And again, with pistols being fairly up close as well, being able to just tote 2 shotguns is another potential powerful buff for them when things get up close and personal, and can definitely make the difference sometimes, especially if you decide to do the double barrels. So that being said, we can get some rifles or repeaters in the list, and certainly worth taking, I think, at least 1, maybe 2, depending again on the size of the game, just to be able to not necessarily dominate, but certainly be able to interact with a larger portion of the battlefield, as opposed to waiting to have to get within like 10 inches or less, or 12 inches or less, for some of these weapons to be effective. So then that starts to make you a little bit more one-dimensional in your play approach. So, but overall, fun faction, if not necessarily too many options there. Now, taking a look at the cards. So for the Jack, I might not know who I am, but I know who I'm not. Play on an enemy character when they declare their actions. The targeted character only performs the first action, and then its turn ends. So that's a pretty nice interruption, and really a way to just kind of mess up somebody else's turn. You're waiting for them to declare their action, and hell, could be anything from their generic character all the way up to their leader or elite guy. Like, hey, you're getting that first action right as they're trying to do that, and then boom, the rest of it is null and void. So if they say like, hey, we're just gonna move, maybe they want to like move, shoot, or move, aim, shoot. Nope, you're just getting the move in, and that maybe they were counting on some damage from getting their full actions or maybe they were going to do something like shoot, 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 and leave one of your characters in a vulnerable spot. Again, like here, just being able to shut down the rest of their actions is really nasty. So a good card all around. Will definitely, if you know you're playing against the Daughters of the West, and you don't see the Jack out there as far as initiative goes, definitely something you got to respect there as far as maybe not getting your turn. You touch her again, you're a dead man. Play as soon as one of your characters is taken out of action. All shots against the shooter are at +1 to hit for the rest of the game. Leave this card next to the unlucky target until they're taken out of action, at which point the card is placed in your discard pile or the game ends. So something pretty nasty here. So basically, if one of your characters is taken out, could be anyone, the enemy model that did it essentially gets a bounty on them for the rest of the game. They're going to be at a +1 to being shot at, no matter what. So this certainly could affect how that character or that model gets played for the rest of the game. Maybe they're trying to be a little less aggressive with it, if they're already in a good spot, especially and if the enemy character is taking some damage already. Maybe that's going to force them to back away a little bit, maybe play more defensively, try to stay healed up, different things like that. But it does make it easier to start taking that character out. So if you can get in a good spot with lots of great positive buffs, there's a pretty good chance that you roll that 19 or 20 ultimately, and take them out. So fun little card. Also, I think one of the first ones we've seen where it affects the card order, in the sense that this card stays out and won't be part of your deck or the initiative order until that character is taken out. Moving on. Look here, I don't let my friends get hung. Play when one of your characters takes a hit that puts her out of action. A friendly character within 10 immediately moves into contact with the 10 centimeters, moves into contact with the original character and suffers 1 under fire marker instead. So it's a great way to keep a character from dying, assuming your friendly character within 10 centimeters has the ability to take that hit. But a great way to sort of maybe organize to the way that you keep your positions for your models throughout the game. So kind of use like the buddy system of keeping at least a couple models close together just for this ability to take somebody out. So it's something certainly that the opponent has to suspect, especially if they've played against the list here, that being able to put that last wound on there might not necessarily be enough, especially if they suspect that you might have this card. So again, forces them to maybe keep a king in their hand as opposed to playing a king out there for initiative too. So, and then last but not least, the ace. I'm going to kill you if I have to ride all the way to hell to do it. Play at the start of the turn against an enemy character with the lowest initiative card. All shooting rolls of 11 to 14 against the character count as under fire and nerf test for the rest of the turn. So it's another more offensive card where you have a chance to pile on the damage, sort of like a temporary bounty against that character though. But it'll be situational because sometimes is it worth playing this against the enemy character with the lowest initiative, but it's one of their 1-point models. Sure, could be great way to probably guarantee that model is going out this turn, but this is a nice one to maybe put some pressure on the opponent to also rethink their turn if it's their leader or maybe their elite model, especially, and maybe they've already taken a hit or two. So like here, boom, all these just regular hits now count as the regular hit plus nerf test, especially if that character's maybe wandered away a little bit from the other models out there, so that they can't claim a friend within the distance there to get the sort of bonus to the buff rolls, or not the bonus to the nerve rolls. So yeah, definitely another nice little offensive buff here. Again, especially if you have the ability to position your models to already get into effective ranges with their own weapons and things like that, makes getting those just regular hits that much more potent for the turn. It's not a guarantee that the opponent's going to fail their nerf test, but again, added pressure, more dice rolls, hopefully will benefit you. So all in all, a fun little list. I wouldn't say necessarily overpowered, but definitely has some interesting options here. And being able to, I think, run out 2 shotguns will definitely catch opponents slipping a little bit if they think that this is just like a weak faction. If you can stack your buffs and things like that, and then some occasional support from rifles or repeaters will help keep the opponent honest at longer ranges and maybe deal with their long range shooters a little bit too. And then just some unique, very unique cards with some really fun abilities for the daughters here. So definitely one faction worth considering picking up for just something that's going to play a lot different than some of those out there, and really can be quite game changing if the cards go off at the right time for you and really mess with the opponent's ability to do their turn. So let us know, guys, in the comments if you played Daughters of the West, and if you've considered maybe picking up the faction. If not, let us know your games, some of your games, if you've played them, where you feel that they've performed well, and against what factions, and where you've maybe lost games. So hit us up in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll have more Dead Man's Hand for you soon.